Most people talk about animation like it is some decoration. They say things like this feels polished, or this feels premium, or this feels smooth. That is not wrong, but it is incomplete. Animation is not there just to impress you, rather, it is there to explain something. Let's see at two examples where a panel opens but in different directions, or rather in different ways in both these websites. On the YC website, if you closely observe, the panel just appears whenever I hover on the tab. But on the Versa website, if you closely observe, the contents of the panel appear in the direction where I take my cursor to. Like if I go towards the right, the contents appear from that side, whereas if I go back, they come back. This this clearly explains me much more rather than just a panel appearing out of some place. The second version communicates much more clearly. It tells me where the panel came from, what changed, and where I should be looking. That is the mindset for this whole course. We are not learning animation so we can make interfaces look expensive. Rather, we are learning animation so interfaces become easier to understand. From now on, every time we look at some animation, we are going to ask these four questions: what changed, who caused it, what needs attention, what should stay stable. These four questions are simple, but they are strong enough to evaluate almost any product interaction. If a modal opens, what changed is the interface state. Who caused it is usually the user. They clicked on something. What needs attention is the modal content. What should stay stable is the sense of where the user came from and what is now in the background. If the animation helps answer those questions, it is doing some useful work. But if it makes those answers less clear, it is hurting the experience. Let's look at a tiny demo. The, the link for this demo is here as shown on the screen. Now let's make this very painfully small. The instant version, that is the bad example here. Like observe closely. I go here and just click. Like we saw on the YC website, the panel just appears out of somewhere. This version is not always wrong, but it gives me no bridge between the states. I have to do the mental jump myself. Let's look at a bit better example. Here if you see, there is some animation here. Like it comes from somewhere and zooms up and appears on the screen, and same when it goes back. This giant zoom from center version does have some animation, but the animation is not helping me. It is loud without being informative. Like I cannot make out why this jump exists. Why did it come out of this place? Why did it get into that side, into this size? A much more better example would be the third one. Observe closely. This short slide and fade from the trigger is better because it answers the right questions. What changed is that a panel opened. Who caused it is me, the user. What needs attention is the panel itself and not the animation. And what should stay stable is the surrounding layout and the relationship between the trigger and the panel. If you observe closely, the panel appears exactly from the place where it was triggered. In this case, this button. That is the standard. Not does it move, but the standard is does it explain the state change. like, just like in real life, things don't just appear out of nowhere. So animating things from a scale of 0 to sudden a scale of 1, like in this case, is not something that happens in real life. A thing has to exist earlier to appear in a bigger format later. Now let us scale this into a real product UI. Again, to the Vercel website. So as I said, things should appear as if they would in real life situation. A toast should not compete with the main task. It needs enough attention to be noticed, but not enough animation to hijack the attention itself. A drop down should feel attached to the control that opened it. If it appears from somewhere unrelated, it feels disconnected, like in this example. A model is a bigger state change. It can use stronger animation because the interface is telling the user, stop here, this matters. So the job of animation changes with the job of component. Animation is communication, and communication depends on context. The right question is not what animation looks coolest here, but rather what does the interface need the user to understand right now. Now let's let's look at a few common failure cases. As you can see on the screen, I have mentioned this here, looks fancy versus communicates clearly. The two common mistakes are, first, an animation with no message. Something moves but I still cannot why. For example, here, if you see this button, it does have some animation with it, with and it does look good on the button, but not on the user's perspective. I cannot make out why does this move in this way, why is it even tilting in this way, and when I hover the mouse out of this button, why does it shake? It just doesn't make any sense. The second failure mistake is an animation that breaks cause and effect. Let's see here. If you see this 3D card, it does have a very nice animation, which is good from a learner's perspective who is just learning animations on the web from my course. But from a user's perspective, it does not feel connected. This animation does not feel connected to the action that triggered it. I can't make out why is this panel even moving when I hover over it. These mistakes are why many beautiful interfaces still feel confusing. Now let's start with an exercise. Your exercise is not to code anything yet. I want you to diagnose 3 short interactions. For each one, answer the 4 questions. What changed? Who caused it? What needs attention? What should stay stable? Then write one sentence on whether the animation helps or hurts the understanding. Do not say like I like it or do not like it. Be specific and write your answers in the comment section. The 3 interactions are as follows. First, second, and the third one. We'll discuss the solution to this exercise in the next chapter. A reminder that all these exercise and code examples are on my website, the link for which you can see on screen. If you only remember one thing from this lesson, remember this: animation is part of the interface language. When animation works, it explains the state change. In the next lesson, we are going to go deeper into one of the biggest jobs animation does well, preserving continuity and spatial memory. That is where interfaces stop feeling jumpy and start feeling understandable. A good animation makes state changes easier to understand. This is made up by me and no one else. Thank you.